Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Getting Unstuck with Misfits Unplugged, where we're helping highly motivated hustlers achieve success and overcome career hurdles. We are two minority women with a combination of corporate America and street smarts, bringing simplified business concepts to everyone.
Woohoo! And if you are feeling stuck in a specific role or field, but know you have a capability of much more, you have a career goal in mind, but trouble building the bridge to get there, or just took on a new opportunity and feeling the pressure of newfound responsibilities, you are in the right place. So stick around.
So let's get to it and help you achieve your next epic career milestone. I'm Izzy.
I'm Brandy.
And let's get through it today. So Brandy, we're going to be going through the ABCDs guide, our foundational course. Why don't you take our subscribers through what that looks like, and then we will jump right into doing our personal ABCDs.
Yeah, sure. So for people who are new to our platform, first, let's just kind of discuss what our ABCDs guide is, which is a 10-page brainstorming exercise that kind of takes you through a few different brain dumping questions that allows you to kind of figure out where you are in your career. So the first piece of that is A, which stands for assets. And those would be our highly valued skills, those things that are really, really marketable in the market, and also a lot of the natural skill set that you might have that brings some positivity and impact to any group that you may enter. B is for blind spots. It's the areas that we need the most development. And all of us do on a very regular basis. So this is cyclical. And then C is your choices, which are the opportunities available to you in your career right now. D stands for your destroyers, which are all of those things that are the distractions that could keep you from possibly building an infrastructure that will allow success for this great career that you're trying to build. So for a lot of people who don't know the background to that, Isabel and I, we've been doing this ABCDs exercise for many, many years, 10 plus years. It's almost how we started out. And it is a proven guide that has helped us gain some traction and some upward movement in our career. So I'm just hoping in maybe going through this with our listeners, they'll also find some
Motivation.
some motivation. Yes.
Yeah, so I love doing the ABCDs. We've been doing this before we created the ABCDs, looking forward, looking back, and just self-reflection, just making sure that we are on target to what our end goals are, and keeping each other accountable for reaching them. So today we're going to go through our personal ABCDs. We're going to start off with assets. So this was a great exercise because it made me have to sit back and say, okay, Isabel, what are your assets right now? Negative about yourself, right? But to say, okay, what am I good at? What are my strengths? So I jotted down a few things that I thought, so I'm trying to keep each of my topics up to 3. So I had to do a little bit of soul searching here, but so I wrote down that my OCD has translated into large scale project management. I enjoy all of the moving parts and bringing them together to come out with like a great process that improves and has a good outcome on the department or the company that I work for. My problem solving. So as you know, I've always been gravitated to helping people. So that was my problem solving. And then that has translated over to my strategic and big picture thinking that I think is another asset of mine at this point. And then last but not least, and you might agree with this, is the people portion of my personality. And like the last 15 years of my career, I've, created great relationships with people. So that has become a strength of mine because as I'm building teams, working with different business partners or whatever I'm working with, my colleagues, the relationship and the people aspect has been kind of one of my best assets. And I genuinely enjoy the relationships I've been creating. What about you?
I ditto all of those. I definitely can give the green check mark to all of those things that she just listed for herself. So I'll go through my assets really quickly, and forgive me if I'm stumbling a little bit because I wanted to do this as organic as possible. So I actually didn't write anything out. But right now, if I had to list just a few of my assets, but what I'm really good at is organizing confusion. So, some people don't like chaos and they don't do well in it. For me, it's always an opportunity for me to kind of gut something out, kind of figure out root cause, and just kind of figure out how to fix things. So I'm really good at that. I'm really good at giving systems order. So out of that confusion usually becomes systems that allow for an infrastructure for growth and sustainability. And how that translates as I work in financial advisory from a small business perspective. So when I'm, thinking about processes and all of those things, me being able to kind of jump into fires and see problems, identify problems, and gut them out and kind of create order around them is something that I actually enjoy. Um, and then I would say just being creative. I think there's something to having had a music background because, I kind of, when I say that I'm left brained and right brained, I think that that's really true. And that I do love order. I do love all of, numbers and statistics and all that good stuff. But I also enjoy the opportunity to just be creative and think outside of the box in terms of problem solving or marketing or whatever, wherever that can show up for somebody. So those are just a few things that I can think of off the top of my head.
All right, so let's move on into our blind spots. So a lot of the things that I classify as assets, I can also identify some pieces of it that are blind spots for me. So as a type A personality and a go get 'em and goal oriented person, that also comes with a little bit of assertiveness, just a little bit of assertiveness, which could be misinterpreted by people. So I've been trying to be self-aware of how assertive I am when I communicate to people, that I'm not bulldozing conversations or making people feel overshadowed. I think that's something for me that has been a pain point because it's part of my personality to, I want to motivate teams, but where do we cross from motivating to bulldozing, right?
Yeah.
So
That's
that's
a good one, actually.
yeah, and it's something that I have, asked people for feedback on to make sure that I'm constantly on a, annual basis, just doing some self-reflection to make sure that I'm working well as a team, that people feel heard. And sometimes it's just, being quiet and listening versus, always speaking up. I thought early on in my career, speaking up made people feel more comfortable. And what I've learned is that in some scenarios, not speaking up and just working on the active listening was where I needed to focus on more to make people feel comfortable.
Yeah.
What about you?
That's a good one. So I'm gonna go in a different direction. I was when I thought about blind spots, I thought for myself it was social media marketing. I mean, like because we've kind of jumped into entrepreneurship. I mean, a lot of people don't know that although you and I have been, partners for years, we just started this business about 6 months ago. So we've kind of jumped into the whole building out a business piece, and a big part of what we are trying to do is reach the masses via this new way of educating. So just kind of navigating the social media market in particular. I mean, another blind spot that might go into that is that I am a classic introvert. So it's finding ways to have my personality shine, and not, feel the insecurity of having to put myself out there kind of thing. That one actually is probably a long time when the whole introversion, and this is probably why Isabel and I work, because she loves people. And I'm like, yeah.
Like, just let me work on something behind.
I love people too. I do love people too, but I am definitely the introvert of the two. So
Well, I think
that could be a blind spot.
this is them
Hmm.
learning, our followers learning so much more about our personalities, because even how
Yeah.
we approach doing this ABCDs is very different. I have it jotted down.
Hmm.
You're going off of your gut. Um,
Hmm.
we're both achieving the same outcome of explaining who we are and how we see ourselves, which is pretty
Hmm.
interesting. So there is no right or wrong to get to the same outcome.
Yep.
Is there anything
Exactly.
else you wanted to add with the blind spots?
Not really. I think since we're just kind of talking through them, I think it's good to kind of let people know that when you're jotting these things down, the blind spots may seem like a negative spot for you, but part of what our platform wants to do is help you figure out how to transform those blind spots into opportunities for you, which is a good leeway into our next
Yeah, I was gonna say,
piece,
good
which
job.
is
That's
choices.
that's what our next episode will be about. So if you are
Yeah.
subscribed, to make sure you hear us the next time going through how to convert these into positive, epic milestone moving activity.
Hmm.
So let's
Hmm.
move on into choices. So choices are your opportunities and where can you take your assets and your blind spots and where are you going to go in your career, right? So
Hmm.
I started thinking about, just like Brandy just mentioned, about our new company. We are a 9 to 5, you know, we get paid on a bi-weekly basis to make this big leap into entrepreneurship. And that happens to
Hmm.
be a great opportunity for us. So I'm excited that all of my years of experience have brought me here where I can pay it forward and
Hmm.
share my experience and help people move the needle in their career. If,
Hmm.
alongside that, my opportunities, I can continue to climb the corporate ladder. I want to go into potentially education and educate people. So I think the combination of it all, because Brandy, you share a lot of these similar,
Yeah, I was gonna say just just
like,
copy and paste.
this is exactly the choices is where we have always been like business soulmates, because this is what we
Yeah.
always wanted: entrepreneurship,
Hmm.
climbing the corporate ladder, education, and paying it forward.
Hmm. Those are all been very core for Isabel and I, and just a little small nugget too. Like we've been talking for years about, getting to a level or a point in our career where we could go and be adjunct professors and maybe retire, as doctors, at a university or whatever. And obviously those were pipe dreams about 10 years ago. And it's funny because as we talk about social media and how everything has changed, we've just found a new way to do what we want to do faster. And also, use all of our expertise without, necessarily needing to go and get that doctorate right now. Right now, there's an opportunity for us to get, our 30 plus years of experience and expertise out to the market now. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, so let's bring it home with the D, which is the destroyers. What are the
The
threats
D.
that will stop us? I've been thinking about that, like we're hitting people with the D. Um, however you want to take that. So the destroyer.
Yeah.
This one was a really good one for me too. So I was like, okay, what will stop me from reaching my goals? And you start off with, nothing is going to stop me from reaching my goals.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, no, okay, well, realistically, what is going to stop you? And I think it's the over ambition, right? So
Hmm.
building a business, new mom, want more children, all of these things that I have going on in my personal life. And
Hmm.
I feel like, which is a big topic right now, which is burnout. I
Hmm.
think burning myself out, or losing focus with trying to take on too much, is
Hmm.
my biggest destroyer. So I don't think there's any outside destroyers. I think it's all internally for me.
Hmm.
So taking on too much, burning myself out, losing focus. Just like if you're running too fast, like you lose a step and you fall. I feel like that is the best metaphor for what I think
Hmm.
destroy me, is just not being strategic with what I'm taking on, and then just
Hmm.
burning out from both ends. No one wants that.
Yeah, that's a good one. Um, for me, I would say so when I'm framing destroyers, I'm also framing them as possible distractions. And so for me, I think procrastination can creep up sometimes. Not all the time. I think that I share the OCD-ness of, once I'm passionate about something and wanting to see it through, I'm definitely a stick through it and stick to it kind of person. So I get to the end, but I do have bouts of wanting to just stop for a second. And I don't even know if that's necessarily a bad thing, because I think that mental health is very important. We have, a jobs with a lot of responsibility. Both Isabel and I, run operations and departments and employees, and a lot of our success, or success in doing our job, really impacts a lot of people. So I think she and I probably take that home. um, We love it. I mean, it's part of the stress, the chaos that like keeps us going kind of thing, but you definitely kind of need a break from it. And starting a new business, I know that I gotta, pull that procrastination card and lay it down, more often than not. Because this really requires for us to like really stay on task. Yeah.
And I think that ties hand in hand because the procrastination usually comes along with the burnout, right? When you start
Mm-hmm.
feeling yourself drifting away from something you're really passionate about is because you taking on other things that you're not so passionate about,
Mm-hmm.
which is
Mm-hmm.
which is a great segue to next episode where we start talking about how to take everything we just shared and how
Mm-hmm.
we've been using it strategically in our career. And then we look forward to also sharing with you our old 5 to 10 year plan that we created when we first came together, how much we've
Mm-hmm.
accomplished, and then what we're looking for in the future for Misfits Unplugged. So,
It's so
Brandy, did you have
exciting.
anything else you wanted to share with everyone today?
Well, definitely. So, first of all, thank you all for joining us. This was a milestone for us, like getting our podcast launch. I'm so grateful that all of you are here with us. But just follow us everywhere else at Misfits Unplugged. Please log on to our website, www.misfitsunplugged.com, where you can download this ABCDs guide and hopefully grab an accountability partner and go through it together with them. It's a really fun exercise that will bring some clarity to some of what you're trying to do in your career. There's also a newsletter on the website. So we send those out monthly and it keeps you abreast to everything that's going on in our community and what we're trying to do. Did I miss anything here?
No, I would just say follow us on Instagram as well, Misfits Unplugged. We're dropping knowledge bombs on a daily basis. So let's stay connected
Mhm.
and build this community of Misfits. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Bye,
We'll see
Misfits.
you next week. Bye.